Hello and welcome to the Moviesaurus Rex Podcast. Before we get started, full disclosure, this episode is basically a preview for a much larger episode that we have also done based on the Alien franchise. In this episode, we are going to discuss the first Alien film in the franchise, directed by Ridley Scott, and you get that for free. If you want to hear me and Tom talk about Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Prometheus, the planned Prometheus sequel, and Alien 5 that is also in the works, as well as us pitching our own Alien project ideas, then please head over to our Patreon page, become a patron, and you will receive access to the full episode, which is roughly 3.5 hours long. I also want to mention that we recorded this episode back in October of 2015, and it is actually our very first recording. If you like what you hear in this episode and you want to hear more of it, then head over to patreon.com/Moviesaurus Rex Podcast and become a patron. No donation is too small. Thank you.
At a creature effects workshop in Hollywood, California, something has escaped. This animatronic abomination is a danger to anyone in its path. The only way to stop it wreaking havoc in the city? To distract it with movie news, discussion, and reviews. Moviesaurus Rex!
Welcome to the Moviesaurus Rex Podcast with your host, Hooch.
And Tom.
That's us.
I'm not the host, am I? I'm just the
You're a co-host.
co-host. Okay, cool.
I would
Co-host.
count that as a host.
Okay, cool.
I feel like we're equals in this.
Equals.
Yes. With
Oh,
me
boy.
being slightly better than you. No, I kid. I jest. Welcome to the podcast. This is our first official episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided that we're going to pick a film series to talk about which we have an affinity for.
We both love it, don't we?
We love it to bits.
It's our favourites.
You might even say this is the series that made us possibly have a bond, start talking
Probably.
to each other. I feel
Oh,
like...
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
I would say so.
If you didn't like it, then I probably wouldn't like you.
No, vice
Right.
versa.
Yeah.
Because,
Shall we reveal it? What it is?
it is... Drum roll. I mean, you probably know because you've read the title of the episode anyway. But it is... Go on, Tom.
Alien.
Alien. Can we do the trailer? All right, that probably
That's not
everyone
right.
else going to come across as
No.
what it's meant to be. It's meant to be like the noise that they use
No
in the
one will know
trailers.
that,
No one will know that, apart from
No.
the hardcore fans.
That are hopefully subscribed.
Yes, the people that should be listening to us right
Yeah.
now.
Talking about real shit. We are.
Okay, so this is a film podcast, but we're not gonna go into great depth like most podcasts would. This is more of a general discussion. This isn't a scene by scene analysis of each film, is it, Tom?
We ain't that.
We're not that.
We're not that sort of clever, are we?
No, we're not that prepared either.
No.
To be honest, I mean, I didn't rewatch the films for this. Did you?
No.
I feel like I only watched them a few months ago. I feel like I've seen them enough times to be able to talk enough about what we want to say.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. I mean, it's better than not watching them at all, is it? I suppose.
Definitely.
And if you haven't seen them, then,
Hopefully, we make them want to watch it.
well,
Is that the end goal, or?
maybe, or give them another watch if you've already seen them. If you didn't like them, give them a second chance, maybe.
And if you didn't like them, then fuck off.
Yeah. Especially if you don't like the first one. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You need to go back and give it another
Evaluate.
chance. Reevaluate, yeah.
Well,
Well-
shall we
Well, okay.
jump in?
So, Alien. I've got a question for you, Tom.
All right, go.
This is quite deep. This is a very deep place to start an episode.
Okay.
What does the Alien series mean to you? Does it have any significance in your life?
It does. It's when, well, because I wasn't old enough to watch it. My mum and dad have both seen it, and they like to tease me and say how good it was. And then one time when it was on TV, and this is for Aliens as well, they recorded it, and they wanted to watch it again, and they said to me, "You'll be allowed to watch it if we think it's suitable." So I was like, "Sweet, I'm gonna be watching these."
Mm-hmm.
Turns out they thought, nah, it might be a little bit too scary for you. Because I was like 10, I think.
10, okay.
So I'm still quite young.
yeah.
So basically, I then decided, screw you, mum and dad. I'm going to go downstairs at like 6 a.m. while they're still asleep,
we all did it.
put it in the VCR,
Yep.
start watching that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I knew that it was going to be like my favourite film.
And did they catch you watching it?
No, they know about it.
They know about it now.
Yeah, they know about
But
it.
you're 24 now, so it doesn't.
I'm 24, so I do what I want, exactly.
Fuck the rules.
Yeah.
You? Well, if I remember right, I was 14, and they had recently been re-released at the cinema for the 25th anniversary. I didn't go see them at the cinema because obviously I was still only 14, but because it was back in the social consciousness. I was interested, and I went to a boot fair.
Oh yeah.
As I used to do in my youth, because I was poor. And I found a VHS copy of Ridley Scott's original 1979 classic, Alien.
Nice.
So I bought it. It was £1.
Bargain.
Best £1 I've ever spent.
Definitely.
And I've spent £1 on a few things in my time. But this was by far the best. And it wasn't a great copy. It had obviously been...
Videotapes were never were, though, were they?
No, but this one had obviously been watched a lot.
Chewed up.
Know? Yeah. It looked like probably the first version of it to ever be on VHS. It was that old. It wasn't like a re-release. It just looked old as shit.
You still got it?
I've still got it.
Nice.
Because it's got a lot of
vintage
sentimental value to it, even though it's not originally mine. I got it secondhand. But anyway, I digress. I watched it as soon as I bought it on my own in the dark, as it should be watched. It should not be watched during the day with broad daylight. It should be watched on as big a screen as possible with nice sound, possibly in Blu-ray if you can. But anyway, I watched it on VHS, and when I was young, I used to watch films over and over again. It didn't matter. I'd watch a film 3 times a day, the same film. I'd watch Bug's Life on repeat.
Watch it, rewind it, watch it.
As I got older, into my teens, having less spare time because of fucking homework and such, I started to watch things repeatedly less.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think so.
But this was the one film that once I started watching it, I would watch it over and over again. I don't know why, because even by today's standards, like, you know, it holds up.
Oh, yeah.
But it didn't look like a new film back then.
No.
You know? So it must have had something special about it which made me want to keep watching it over and over again. As opposed to, I don't know, Star Wars Episode 2 like 1,000 times. Not that I like that film, but anyway. Rather than watching something new and flashy, I would go back to this old 1970s horror classic. And after watching that for a few months, my mum, out of the blue, presented me with all 4 films on DVD. I think there was a offer on some website where it was buy one, get one free or something.
And you snatched them up.
She snatched them up, gave them to me.
And the rest is history.
And I watched them all, having only seen the first one ever, but multiple times. I now had the first one in better image quality with a director's cut version of it with all the makings of, and I had films 2, 3 and 4 as well to go with it. So I watched them over the course of 2 days, like back to back, and yeah, it's just something about that series. Even though they're not all good films, and we will get to that, I can't watch one without watching the others.
Yeah.
I have to watch them all as a set now.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if that's normal. I'm a bit of a completionist, though.
1 and 2.
1 and 2. That's enough for you?
Usually.
Okay.
If I'm feeling fruity, then I'll jump to 3.
Yeah.
4.
No.
We'll get to that, like we said.
But the point being, it's significant to me anyway. Not because it's like I grew up watching it necessarily. A chunk of my life has been lived after having watched this film, but it still holds some sort of sentimental place in my heart.
Yeah.
And even though you can now watch it on Blu-ray and on DVD, that VHS is still very special because there is something about watching that film in quite a low quality that gives it a charm.
Adds to the sort of the, what's the word I'm thinking of? The old sort of style of it.
It just complements it well, I think. So, but having said that, we do own the Blu-rays, don't we?
We do, obviously.
And if you go and watch the Blu-rays now, they look amazing. I mean, it's not just one of these normal, like, oh, we'll just slap it on Blu-ray. They actually went and restored them and made them all look... I mean, if you didn't know it was made in 1979 and you went and watched the original, all right, there's some things that might look a bit old, but the image quality, it doesn't look like an old film.
No.
It looks like something that could have been made last year.
Definitely. So, same with Aliens. Just jumping into
all of them. I'd say all of them.
Yeah.
All of them look decent, apart from Alien 3, but we'll get to that. And that's just a visual effects thing. That's not even... Image quality, Blu-ray is the way to go.
Definitely.
And most of these notes that I have on the first Alien film are sort of jotted down from watching the Beast Within making of documentary, which you can only get on certain copies of the DVD or the Blu-ray. Now, if you go into your shop and you buy one of these, that's my Michael Caine. If you go into the shop and you buy a cheap version of the box set that doesn't have the special features, you're doing yourself a disgrace, right? Go and hunt down the deluxe version with the extra discs and all the rest of it, because I tell you, I love watching makings of. I love filmmaking. And apart from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, there is no other set of films that have documented the making of as well as these films. Am I right?
No, yeah, totally.
If you're into filmmaking, it doesn't even matter if you don't like these films. If you just watch the making of, you just get such an insight into the machine of making these films. And any film, these films have highs and lows, and all of these things can be applied to most filmmaking processes, I imagine. It's just a good example of like what happens in Hollywood, I suppose. Yeah. But anyway, I really went off on a tangent there.
That's all right.
That's what this podcast is all about. It's our podcast.
Do what we want.
We can do what we want. And if you don't like it, you don't have to listen.
I thought you were going to do Michael Caine again.
If you don't like it, you can shove it. I'm going to stop doing the Michael Caine.
Where does it come from?
You know what it is? I watched The Trip yesterday with Steve Coogan and
Oh,
Rob
right,
Brydon.
yeah. You're not doing it right.
You're not doing it. Michael Caine's voice is a lot more nasally. And when he got older, the whiskey set in, and he started to talk a lot like this. I've got the batter bill for you, Mr. Way. Right, they did it a lot better than me.
They do, but no, yours is all right.
It's all right, it's getting there. But we won't give that any more time, because we have so many films to talk about, Tom.
Well, 4.
We have 4 films to talk about, which is a lot to get through. And let us begin.
Go, shoot.
Well,
we're starting with Resurrection, obviously.
Well, we're going to be really avant-garde about this.
Go
and
backwards.
We're going to go backwards, and maybe not even backwards, because that's too much of an order. We're going to go 4, 3, 2... That's still an order. My mind is broken. My mind is broken. My mind is broken. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, Prometheus.
Oh, yeah, forgot about Prometheus.
Don't forget about... So we got 5 films.
Right, cool.
5 films to get through, plus, the new ones that they're talking about making. We'll get to them as we get to them. No, I thought we'd be traditional.
Yeah,
I didn't think
we'll
we'd
do
be wankers about this. I thought we would go for number 1 first.
Sounds good.
So let us start with Alien 1979. That's the year it was made. Directed by Sir Ridley Scott. I think he's a sir. Is he a sir?
Yeah, no, sir.
He's a sir. I'd give him a
Ridders.
knighthood anyway.
Yeah, we'll call him Sir Ridders.
Sir Ridders. He directed it. It had a budget of approximately, according to Box Office Mojo, $11 million. And it grossed worldwide almost $105 million. That is
Fair amount back in the day.
That is a profit.
That was a big profit.
That's a success. And that's not... I don't even know if that's accounting for all the DVD sales, TV licenses and all the rest of it.
I doubt it.
Needless to say, it was a success commercially and critically, because I don't know anyone that has seen Alien and didn't like it.
No, I've not met any of them.
And I don't want to know them.
They don't exist. I'm sure they don't.
They don't exist.
Oscars? Any?
You know what? I don't even know what it won.
It won something, though, didn't it?
It did win something. I can't remember what, but I am going to look it up now because I have the power of the internet at my fingertips. So
super prepared.
While I look that up, I'm just going to keep on talking.
Found it. Best effects.
You found it. Okay, you beat me to it. I didn't know this was a race.
It won Best Visual Effects.
Fair enough.
Nominated for Best Art Direction / Set Decoration.
And it is very deserving of that.
Yeah.
I feel.
So, yeah, critically and commercially.
At least amongst the Academy, who shall not be questioned. But no, it did deserve those things. And maybe more. Who are we to say what it deserves and what it doesn't deserve? But I do feel it deserves more acclaim than what it got. But anyway, so, Alien 1. Alien 1, written by Dan O'Bannon. And story written by we'll call him Dannon. Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett. Shusett. Should we go into the history of this, how this film got made, or
We can do.
a little bit of his backstory? Okay. Dan O'Bannon wrote a film called Dark Star, and it was a student project. This is
With
all
John Carpenter, right? I have a feeling John
Oh,
Carpenter.
I don't know about that.
I'm sure he did something
Maybe.
with John Carpenter.
Possibly.
Carry on though. I digress.
Again, this podcast we're not gonna spend time researching all of these things. We're just gonna make it complete conjecture. Anyway, Dan O'Bannon wrote Dark Star, which was a student project which later became a much bigger project with a wider release.
Dark Star was directed by John Carpenter. I was right.
Oh, was it really?
Mm.
Okay. Maybe we'll get to that film one day. And it was, I believe, this is all according to the Beast Within documentary that I've already mentioned on the Blu-ray. According to Dan O'Bannon, Dark Star was meant to slightly spoof or be inspired by 2001 A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick, which was very, I don't know if it was popular at the time.
I'm still not seen that.
I feel like it's gained popularity through the years rather than at the time. I could be completely wrong. Again, I'm not going to research that. So, technically, without 2001 and Space Odyssey, we wouldn't have Alien, because 2001 inspired Dark Star, and then Dan O'Bannon, not really happy with the way Dark Star turned out, decided to write another script, which would almost be a second hash at what he tried to do with the sci-fi genre in Dark Star.
Yeah.
And this script was called Star Beast.
Star Beast. Could you imagine?
Star Beast.
Wouldn't have the same
No.
hold it does
You
now,
wouldn't
would it?
have Star Beast 3, Star Beast Resurrection,
No.
I don't think.
Sounds shit.
Dan O'Bannon, what were you thinking? God rest your soul, because, he's not around anymore.
He's not about, is he?
Not here to defend himself, that's not fair. But yeah.
He also wrote Total Recall. Just want to say that.
Did he?
Yeah.
Actually, in the documentary, they did mention Total Recall a lot, but I didn't take any notes on that because I thought, you know what? Different
Quaid.
film. You think this is the real Quaid? It is! I know this is an Alien podcast, but
We're always gonna-
he's always going to degenerate into Arnie's Arnie
Arnold will
impression.
always crop up.
All right, I've got one for you.
Go on.
Give these people air. No?
What's the
2 weeks.
Welcome to the party, Victor. I didn't even say party. I just blended into one.
Oh dear. Should we just make this podcast about Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, we should just stop talking about Alien. I think just do Arnold quotes.
I feel like I should do one more.
All right, one more.
This isn't even Total Recall. This is just
I think I know which one you're gonna do.
yeah.
Maybe. Go on.
Take your toy back to the carpet.
No, it wasn't that one.
It's a ferret.
Right.
Okay, sorry about that. Had to get it out of our system.
It's
Had
never
to be
out.
done. All right. So, Alien, written by Dan O'Bannon. We've already covered that. Okay. If you watch the making of documentary, he does come across as
Bitter.
bitter.
Not very happy.
Not very happy with the way. Obviously, happy that it was a success, but the journey getting there to the success seemed like quite a struggle
Yeah.
for numerous reasons, which we are not going to go into in this because it's out there for you to find.
Just watch
yourselves. Just watch it. It's a fantastic documentary about the making of the original Alien, and if you watch it, I think you will have a greater appreciation of the film overall. So, with that out of the way, let's get to the guy behind the Alien itself, the guy who designed it.
Giga.
H.R. Giger?
What does the HR stand for?
Can't remember.
I did
Can't
know.
remember. Does it stand for anything, or is his first
No,
name
it does.
just
Yeah.
HR?
No, it does stand for something.
Oh, okay.
You carry on. I'll Google it.
We'll call him Giger. I have a great quote, which pretty much sums up the mind of H.R. Giger. Giger. Dan O'Bannon, and this is paraphrasing, Dan O'Bannon mentioned the time that he first met H.R. Giger, the man who designed the Alien. Upon meeting Giger, O'Bannon was offered by Giger some opium. Drugs, okay?
Heroin, people.
Is that what it is? It's
Yeah,
heroin.
opium's like heroin now.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I just thought, Anyway, heroin. Heroin. Dan O'Bannon asked Giger why he took opium. And this is a very poor impression of H.R. Giger, just so you know. Giger replied, I am afraid of my visions. Dan O'Bannon replied, it's only in your mind. H.R. Giger, that is what I'm afraid of. He takes heroin to escape his mind. He has such troubled visions.
Well, he does though. If you look at his work, he's fucked.
It is. He's pretty disturbing.
Old Hans Rudolf Giger.
That's it. Yeah.
He's fucked up.
What nationality is he?
Swiss? Yeah, Swiss.
Swiss. So my accent probably wasn't Swiss, but you know.
I think a little bit of Arnold came back in it, but
yeah, Arnold always comes back.
Yeah, he always does.
We always come back to Arnold. But yeah, if you look at the Necronomicon, which is a book by Giger, the book that actually inspired Ridley Scott and Dan O'Bannon to hire Giger to create the world of Alien, you'll see just how fucked up his designs were. They're great, don't get me wrong, but they're horrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of cock.
Yep, a lot of cock.
A lot of penises going on. Sexual stuff.
Phallic.
Phallic, very phallic.
We've got the cocks out of the way now.
Well, but without Giger, there'd be no Alien.
And the Alien is a great design.
Oh, yeah.
Outside the traditional grey, big-eyed Alien, I think Giger's Alien is the best.
It's one of the best movie monsters ever. There's no denying that.
I don't know why it's so scary. I mean, Giger says because it has no eyes. I decided not to give it eyes. He says it's because there's no eyes. I partly agree with that.
I think the why it's so scary is you don't fully see it. It's always it's always clouded.
You don't see it completely
darkness
in the first film.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Alien is why it's so scary as well.
It's
just out of sort of
the power of the imagination.
Exactly.
It's more powerful than the visual effect, the special effect, the suit, whatever. And it is a man in the suit, isn't it?
It is a big, skinny man, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's like 8 foot, something.
I think
stupid.
So. Yeah. Found in a pub, if I remember right.
I remember that in the documentary.
I think so.
Someone was just drinking there and see this big tall bloke.
He'll do. We'll grab him, and he became the Alien.
And that's it.
Fantastic.
I think, was he the Predator as well? Swear they used him for Predator.
Oh, no, but do you remember there was a time when Jean-Claude Van Damme was going to be the Predator?
Really?
And it was a giant lobster monster.
Jesus Christ.
There's pictures of that online. If you
really?
Look, oh, God, it could have been a completely different
Sounds
thing.
horrifying. What, fighting Arnold still, though?
I think so. Actually, I'm not sure. Because Jean-Claude, JCVD. JCVD.
Sounds like a disease. Oh, I got that fucking JCVD.
Got to take the tablets twice a day and put on the ointment. It was originally... I mean, we're talking about fucking Predator, but I suppose you can't talk about Predator if you're
exactly.
You know, it's just inescapable.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was originally going to be a JCVD vehicle, but he found out he was going to be in a costume the whole time. No one would see his face, so he decided to not do it anymore. And then I guess they got Arnold in because of the star power.
Yeah.
So it would be a name.
So what do you do instead?
Shit. I think.
Universal Soldier.
Just a load of shit.
You cunt.
Oh, yeah.
And cause fear.
There's language in this podcast, just so you know. I should have
sorry.
said that at the beginning, but, you know.
We'll add a disclaimer in at the start, I think.
Yeah. And if you're too young to hear that word, you're going to hear it at some point.
You shouldn't have a phone.
You shouldn't have a phone.
Yeah.
If you're not old enough to swear, why do you need a phone?
Exactly.
You know?
Kids these days.
You meet your mates on the playground once a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
What more do you need? You do not need to text.
You don't.
And parents, don't buy your kids phones. Yeah? Because phones are connected to the internet and the internet's full of nonsense, right? I've gone back to Michael Caine again.
Nonsense. Right, where was
You're only supposed to text your bloody mates. Get off the Reddit. Okay. God, this...
There's no structure to this.
There is a structure. I've written it down in front of me, but I'm not sticking to it.
No, it goes.
I'm too... You know, we need someone cracking the whip here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need a producer, don't we?
We need a producer. I mean, technically we're producers, but...
Yeah.
Would you put your name to this?
Nah.
I wouldn't add this to the CV. Okay. Right. We'll get back to the structure.
Yeah.
It's a bit jarring because we've been talking about shit for the last 20 minutes.
I'll check. Yeah, 24 minutes. Going well.
But now we're going to get back on track. So I'm going to go back to the notes. I'm going to default to the notes. Okay? Alien 1. What's your favourite scene?
Chestburster.
With John Hurt.
With John Hurt. The whole thing. I mean, it's kind of sad that I knew about the chestburster scene.
Yeah, I did as well.
Even though I was so young, like when my parents were first talking about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, there's a really good bit in it."
Oh, you was just told about it?
Yeah, my dad used to do it a lot, actually. We got The Thing on VHS, and I was super interested in that. He told me a lot about that as well.
We'll get to that another day, people.
Yeah. But, I knew about it, so I knew what was coming, what to expect, but I didn't really see it. There wasn't really internet back then, so I didn't see pictures or a YouTube video of it. So when I saw that was, just incredible. Another bit as well, I always remember watching this with my sister the first time, because I made her watch it when she was, like, quite young. Didn't realise the surround sound, we just got a surround sound system, didn't realise the notch was all the way up to, like, max volume.
Turned up to 11, was it?
Turned up to 11. And it was the bit where John Hurt actually gets face hugged.
Oh,
so
right.
Got the,
God, that
looks
noise.
into the egg, and then
that's the last thing you want.
Like this, the when the things, and then that bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like max volume, and I did not realise, and I even shat myself. So they're the two bits, obviously the standout.
Even when you know it's coming, you brace yourself for it, but it doesn't matter, because when it happens, you still like jump, don't you? It's just one of those
so
things.
Good.
Doesn't matter how many times you see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the chest burster scene spoiled for me before, but I'd actually seen it outside the context of the film,
right?
Because there was a documentary on Channel 4 that I taped on the video like years and years ago.
Oh, like a countdown.
It was a countdown. It was 100 scariest moments.
Yeah.
And I think Alien was like number 2 or something.
Right.
Just the film Alien, but they decided to show the whole fucking scene with the chest burster. So I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
It had no effect on me, because even though like it's still scary, if you don't have the context and you don't know what's happened before that point, it's pretty much wasted on you, isn't it? But I'd just love to go back and watch that film without knowing what's going to happen.
It's one of those films I wish I was young enough, or I was about in those sort of time, and just go to the cinema and see it without any preconception of what was going to happen.
Because I could imagine it would have been scary.
Yeah, it would have been.
It would have been a mindfuck, wouldn't it? Because I mean, I suppose it's been done since, because this film's inspired a lot of things, as the second one, and you know, but.
So we knew what was happening, but the actual cast members didn't, did they?
Apparently,
trivia.
That's the legend,
the story. Yeah.
I
don't know. I think they.
I mean, John Hurt knew, obviously, because he was rigged. I think his bottom half is underneath the table.
Yeah, I think they kind of sloped it down, didn't they?
So it's just his shoulders above the table, and then below it, it's a dummy.
Yeah.
But rigged.
Ripley didn't know, I think, and then
none of the others knew.
Right.
None of the others.
I know
knew.
the girl, the one that screams, "Oh God!"
Oh, what's her name?
Lambert in the film.
Lambert, yeah.
All the blood getting on her as well, like she took a facial, didn't she?
And they shot it with 4 cameras just to make sure that they caught every angle, every reaction. I remember, I didn't get to this part in the documentary, but I remember from like previous times I've watched it, they actually used like offal.
Oh really? I bet it's stank.
Because like when it bursts through, you see inside of him, don't you? You see it inside his chest and stuff, and there's all those like organy
bits.
That's just real like fresh. Well, not so fresh animal innards.
Yeah.
And they
sitting under all those lights.
And they said the smell was
I bet.
Repugnant. Yeah.
Gross.
I bet it would have been amazing to witness though, like as part, not in it, but like part of the crew.
Yeah.
Just watching that from afar unfold.
But I wonder if they would have known how successful. They probably wouldn't have had no idea of how working on that film would then become this classic that it is now, would they?
They always like the.
Didn't they always see it as a B movie sort of thing?
Well, originally, I think Dan O'Bannon wrote it as a B movie sort of thing, and then when the producers David Giler and Walter Hill came on, they decided this could become an A picture rather than a B picture. And I mean, they gave him a decent budget for back then. Probably not enough to do exactly what Ridley Scott wanted to do with it, but more than most films of that genre would have. It's worth noting that this came after Star Wars.
It did.
And
77 was Star Wars, wasn't it? And then 79.
Yes, and I think the success of Star Wars prompted Fox to quickly get another science fiction film out there set in space, and this happened to just be lying on the table after being in sort of script hell, limbo. It was just sitting there, and they decided, right, let's pick this up and put this into production. And that's, so without Star Wars there would be no Alien, I suppose, or not this version of it. It wouldn't have the budget anyway. Another thing that I'm jumping about now, but another thing that improved the budget, apparently, Ridley Scott's famous for doing his storyboards. It's very meticulous. Every scene, every moment must be storyboarded by him. He did this for Alien, and he says that it doubled the budget. Once he presented the storyboards, which he did over a 3.5 week period, they just gave him double the money.
Nice.
Just based on the strength of those storyboards.
Yeah.
Which, you know, just goes to show if you know your film inside out and plan ahead, like he did, it benefits in more than just, you know, more ways than one. But I digress. Favourite scenes? You've mentioned yours. Yeah. I'll mention mine.
And it's not the chest burster or...
No, it isn't. I think because they were spoiled for me, you know. I even think the face hugger might have been spoiled for me a little bit as well in that documentary. But my favourite scene is the one in the air vent. Where you got Dallas. Yeah. And he's decided to chase the beast.
What a fool.
What a knobhead. With only a flamethrower as well. Yeah. Which...
You can't have guns in a spaceship, can you?
Films have taught us that. You can't have a firearm in space.
Into space, wouldn't you?
That wouldn't be nice.
No.
So yeah, he's got a flamethrower. He's in the air vents. And
the motion tracker.
I did film studies at college, and we had to pick a scene to present to the class. Like, gave an impression of tension, and I picked this. Yeah. Just because he's in the air vent, it's claustrophobic. He's closing the hatches behind him. Those little iris shutters. Yeah, I can't do noise. But, you know, the sound effect. And then the beeping on the tracker. Like,
Is there music in the scene?
There is.
Because it would still... I think it would work without music.
It's very... It's not like, you know, it's not like John Williams. No. But there is music. It's more to underline the incoming danger.
Because the sounds of the motion tracker, it's just...
The motion tracker, and there's also heartbeat in the background as well. And, you know, you can see this dot getting closer to the centre of the motion tracker. It's coming nearer to him. And then Lambert's like, oh, God, it's right on top of you. Get over there. Oh! And then, you know, before you know it, it's behind him. And...
Oh, yeah, it reaches for the... Yeah. That's kind of a clear view, isn't it?
That is the first time you really see it.
A proper view.
For half a second, but you see its face, you know? That really shat me up when I first saw it. When I didn't know it was coming, now I can just sort of wait for it. I know what's going to happen, obviously, but I still like watching it. It's still such a great example of tension building. And obviously, it's one of the better looks at the alien as well. Yeah. I don't know. For those reasons, I just feel like that's my key scene of this film. Do you have a peeve? Do you have something you dislike about this film?
The director's cut, maybe.
Okay. Elaborate.
We was going to mention this. Just one of the deleted scenes where you've got Dallas and Brett have somehow been cocooned, which obviously... If you were watching Alien and this was maybe in the theatrical, it would maybe, I don't know, speak to something a bit higher up. But because that was added in afterwards, after all of the other films, so with Aliens and the whole Queen,
this
doesn't make sense now.
Yeah, this was added in the 2004 re-release, the DVD re-release.
So it doesn't make sense if you kind of see them all together now. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, I don't really have an actual... part of the film I don't like or anything really.
I don't.
There's nothing.
It's a bit slow.
Yeah,
it takes a long time to build up, but if you're really into your films, like every frame is just so nice just to look at. Even if you're not like paying attention to the film before the alien shows up, just look at the frame. Look at how much work's gone into building up this world, especially for the 1970s. You know. Yeah. On a relatively, you know, by today's standards, small budget. It just goes to show what you can do if you've got a vision and if you've got technical know-how and a strong group of people around you supporting you.
Definitely.
I don't have any peeves, but I will say to the deleted scene, I used to like it. When I first got the DVD and I had this new scene in it, which involved like some extra gore, I was like... Oh, wow, you know, he's been cocooned. We never really did find out what happened to him. In hindsight, I'm like, I like that we didn't know what happened to him.
You didn't need to worry about it.
We saw him in the air vent. He got pounced on. That's it. Yeah. The mystery remains.
Because we don't know what the aliens actually do with them.
No.
Really, in the first one anyway. Do they eat them? Or
that's it.
what does it do?
And in a way,
Have sex with them?
we in a way we knowing what happens to him just sort of spoils it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him in a cocoon, and like you say, this doesn't really feel like canon now.
No, it's
because it's
separate.
I mean,
really.
back then there was no canon. This was the first of many. They didn't know it was going to be many films, but it was a story in itself, and this scene made sense. But now, all the other films having been made without the hindsight of this scene, a new sort of mythology has been set.
Yeah.
We're going to get into geeky territory, but like the alien itself, unless it's a queen, doesn't really have a reason to store people away.
No.
And what was
they're foot soldiers, really, aren't they?
Yeah, they're just drones,
Yeah.
and they're there to survive and kill and just keep preserving their life or the life of the queen if need be. But there is no queen in this one. We'll get to that. But it doesn't make sense from a canonical standpoint for this scene to exist anymore. And I feel like it does take away something, even though when I was 14, I thought it was really cool that there was like this extra scene in the film. Interestingly, the director's cut is shorter than the theatrical cut, which is a rarity. Yeah. Usually you have additional footage and
I feel like I should
runtime.
watch the theatrical one again.
I feel like I should watch it all again, both versions. I'm not going to, but again, if we're not going into enough detail in this podcast, it's because one, this is our first episode, and two, I would like to think that we will come back and talk about these films after we've been doing this for a while, and then we can see the progression, how much more professional we become with each episode.
Or less professional.
But I mean, as much in depth as the makings of go into these films, I would like our podcast to be in depth about each film. But at this point in time, we're just going to skim over each film.
Shoot the shit.
Yeah, we're just going to pick out the diamonds from the roughs.
No rough, though.
There is a rough. We'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
Alien Resurrection, come on. Come on. Let's say it now. It's a subpar effort.
It's pony.
It's pony. We'll get to there. Anyway, so we've had a bit of trivia. We've had a bit of our favourite scenes, our peeves. Have you got anything you want to add about Alien 1?
No. Other than it's great.
Wow. Spoken like a true professional.
That's a poster line right there. Re-release.
I will say, this standpoint comes from the hindsight of having watched all the others, but I do like this film because it is just one alien.
Yeah.
And it is dangerous. Whereas, we'll get to aliens, but I personally prefer it when it's one alien, you know? And there's not a lot they can do to stop it.
Yeah.
They have to use their ingenuity and know-how, Home Alone style.
Rather than just
take down.
Sort of bullet. Just getting wrecked.
All right. Okay. Should we go into Aliens?
Yeah.
Into Alien 2?
Do it. Aliens.
Sorry to cut this short, but this is just a preview for our much larger episode on our Patreon page. So if you like what you've heard so far and you want to hear more of it, then please head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Moviesaurus Rex Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next episode. Bye.